I love video games. I love movies, I love TV shows and animation, and I've kind of started to get a little bit into comics and even trading card games lately. That is to say, I love all forms of media that I can get my hands on more often than not. I really do enjoy entertainment, but I don't consider entertainment simple escapism. Like, it can be. Like, I can definitely just sit down and watch something just to kind of, you know, not think about things for a while, just think about whatever it is I'm watching for a bit. Don't get me wrong, that's fun, but escapism and meaning are not mutually exclusive. My favorite escapism is that which feels so intentional and so worth exploring on a deeper level that I escape reality into the world of the media that I'm interested in, because I'm constantly theorizing and thinking and analyzing intention and messaging and political messages, social messaging, biases, etc. It gives more to chew on, especially with a piece of media that's a lot of fun that I enjoy. It gives you more to think about. And there was a time where I feel like video games were starting to go from a very disrespected art form. Like, I remember there was a time where video games were rarely accepted as art among the mainstream. And I remember arguing, like, man, have you seen the skyboxes in Halo games? That shit's beautiful. Like, someone painted that. I think I heard Chris Raygun make that argument in the same point. I remember, like, back then, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not video games were really art. And as we started to realize, yes, they are, particularly gamers argued that it was, and people started to accept that, games started to be critically analyzed like art. And movies and books and all that have always been analyzed in the same way that games are now analyzed today by, say, gaming journalists, from all sorts of different angles, even from a political perspective. But now that games are included, there are many people who saw that as an attack on their favorite pieces of media. And there might be no community more gatekeepy around what they enjoy than gamers. We gamers love the idea of finding a hidden gem and feeling like a big hipster for being part of, like, this niche that knows about this amazing thing. Think Zomboid, right? Like, realistically, Zomboid should be way bigger than it is, but gamers just kind of, you know, we like to have our little slice of the pie that's way sweeter than everyone else's, and they don't even know. We're gamers, that's how we are, okay? We gatekeep. And so, over time, as games have gotten more popular and way more diverse in terms of their player base and cast, mind you, like, games nowadays typically literally hire a cast to play the characters, like, especially modern, like, AAA games will mocap and performance capture a lot of the characters, or a lot of the actors to play the characters, or at least to map their movements and everything, and so it's often, like, movie casting style for casting characters in a game. A lot of this has gotten a lot more diverse, a lot more progressive-minded, I guess you could say. And a long time ago, there was once a point where video games were very not woke by today's standards, and they were criticized for this by, like, feminist creators such as Anita Sarkeesian, and the response to dismiss these criticisms was go make your own games. Well, now all of those college, blue-haired, nose-ring SJWs, they've got their degrees and they work in the gaming industry now. And they've started their own studios, they're making their own games, they're having an influence, and the gaming industry's changing because they're making the games, they have an impact. The audience is growing, and the games are being made for a different audience than games were typically made for even 5 or 10 years ago. And change is scary. We're seeing as certain games that people have been very nostalgic for growing up stop being relevant and talked about and played, or maybe they get updates that are very questionable and bad, and they start to lose faith, and they start to see the prevalence of loot boxes, pay to win, barely finished games getting released constantly from big, respectable, quote-unquote, AAA companies. The way that workers are treated, the devs are treated, such as with crunch time and mass layoffs being the norm, looking at you, Blizzard, and Riot, and everything else, actually. there's a lot to complain about if you're a gamer right now. But on the other end of things, there's a lot to be happy about. The indie industry has never been better. Like, indie games, holy shit. There are so many gems there. I mean, Zomboid I just brought up. If you do not know what Project Zomboid is, check it out. Check it out. Alright, I'm not a gatekeeper. Trust me. You will be glad you did. But yeah, like, the indie industry right now is in a really good spot. And I think that's really where a lot of gaming is right now. But on the other hand, due to the amount of discontent with the current American, Western gaming industry, and a lot of the discontent is for good reasons, we've seen this easy cash cow opportunity pop up. There is a high demand for content that validates the anger that gamers feel about the current state of the gaming industry. And a lot of the people willing to shamelessly follow that cash cow are themselves, they often tend to be conservative. I don't know why, but conservatives tend to be the ones who love to use AI and do crypto and run crypto scams and rug pulls and get into NFTs. They're not usually progressives or woke people getting into that stuff. It's usually people who stand Trump, right? And so we've seen this cultural shift due to the influence of these grifters against progressive messaging in media. We've gone from, okay, if you want games to be woke, make your own games, to stop making woke games. And this has gone from, like, people being a little more aware of blatant pandering. I think a good example is, like, Disney, even though they don't really make games. They do, but they don't. I think they make games. Like, Disney has been one of the most criticized companies for its progressive messaging. But Disney is also rolling back its DEI policies after Trump took office. Disney is a legitimate example of dishonest, pandering, rainbow capitalism. They literally flipped on all that shit the second they thought the tides were turning against gay people. Like, Disney never cared. And a lot of corporate overlords don't care. They're just trying to check off boxes to maximize profits. That is true. And a lot of people know this, and that's why a lot of the most popular grifters' talking points begin and end there. But many go further with it and try to inject their politics into it, and try to get people so hyper-aware of supposed wokeness that now, things that years ago were very popular and beloved, had you released it today, people would lose their minds. Now, one game that came right at the tail end of when you could still make games that would be called woke and they wouldn't be lambasted by the internet like these games are now was Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. One of my favorite games, by the way. I really like Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. The gameplay's amazing, don't get me wrong, but its story really stuck with me. Like, specifically this one's story did. I particularly liked the opening, how you're all, I don't want to spoil anything, but, wheelchair, machine gun, lots of dead Nazis. That's how the game opens. At no point does the roller coaster go down from that point. It's only up. It's a really good game, okay? It's really good. Yeah, and the wheelchair movement is great because you can't go upstairs. You have to find ramps and go down, like, conveyor belts. And yeah, okay. Anyway, so this game is, to give a very brief summary, an alt history story about what would happen if in World War II there was a single soldier so badass he was sent on a mission to take out a Nazi scientist whose inventions would lead, if they ended up being a thing and ended up being used by the Nazis, would lead to the Nazis conquering basically the world. And in this timeline, American Doom guy, basically, B.J. Blazkowicz, William Joseph Blazkowicz, is that badass super soldier, basically. He's not even a super soldier, he's just a guy, but he's badass as fuck. He's like Doom guy. He is sent to a compound where a mad scientist is making insane cyborgs, and he goes there, and in our timeline, supposedly, he successfully takes out the scientist. There are no cyborgs. Nazi Germany fails. They have no wonder weapon, and their science experiments are just memes, and they fail. But in this timeline, BJ Blazkowicz fails in his mission. It goes badly. He ends up in a coma for like 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. Wakes up. Nazis have taken over Europe, America, most of the world. Shit's fucked. And BJ Blazkowicz is mad. So cue the Doom music. It's time to go on a globe-hopping adventure of Nazi killing. And then, at the end of the game, you find the mad scientist you were supposed to kill. You kill him, but he blows you up with a grenade and all that shit. It's basically you're in an alt timeline where the world is conquered by Nazis. It's kind of like cyberpunkish, or not cyberpunky, it's steampunky. You know, like the Nazis have like twisted like modern or twisted future tech that's also like diesel punk, that's the word for it. Thank you. Really cool franchise and lots of Nazi killing, right? It's great. It's awesome. But a game about killing Nazis, especially with the campaign, the marketing campaign this game had, if you had released this today, people would have gone crazy. This was the last game that could get away with being like this. And you know that because the sequel that came right after was lambasted for being woke. So let's watch this video. I was sent this video. The creator is a much smaller creator who I hope you guys go and check out, named Peter Spitek. The video is called They Couldn't Make This Game Today. I'm going to drop a like and a sub, actually. I love Wolfenstein, and I absolutely agree they could not have made this game today without massive outrage. So let's find out, let's hear this person's take on it. There will, of course, be a link to the original video down below in the description. I highly recommend you click it and go send some support. Please, go do that. Let's watch. We're probably not going to watch the whole thing either, because I want you guys to get left on a cliffhanger and then go click the link and watch the rest on his video and give him the view and the like and the comment and the sub. Do that. Anyway, let's check it out. They couldn't make this game today. I concur.
Reboot is comprised of two profoundly unapologetic games. They do not do a single thing to look away from their subject matter, which can make them feel grim and dark and desperate. The reboot tells the story of an alternate history, one where the Nazis won World War II, and shows just how bleak the world gets under the new regime.
I forgot we were going to watch a video essay, so I shouldn't have explained the story of Wolfenstein. However, I wasn't expecting this video essay to be so high quality. Guys, this guy has 2,000 subs? Once again, this right here is evidence that there is a lot of talent out there that is not rewarded right away with success. I hope this guy keeps at it, because I expect this dude to be pulling white light numbers, okay? He's a big game reviewer guy. I expect that. This is a high-quality video. Like, the editing, the audio, the equipment being used to make it is good. Good shit. Compliments to the chef.
Wolfenstein takes a clear stance on the matter, a stance that I'd argue is meant to be entirely uncontroversial, but the central reason why I imagine we might not ever get another game in the series. Wolfenstein hates Nazis.
Can't be political these days. Video link in chat, by the way. It's a great series.
The politics of the first game in the reboot duology, Wolfenstein: The New Order, are incredibly simple. The game makes it explicitly clear what we must do with Nazis, that there is no role fascism can play in our future other than to be stomped under our boots. It's a political perspective that seems largely uncontroversial at face value. Nazis have been seen as...
So, someone asked in chat, is hating Nazis bad now? No, it's not bad, but right now, especially among the gaming community, Nazis are bad is a very yeah duh statement to everyone who isn't a Nazi. It comes off as preachy and lazy to do the whole like fuck Nazis, let's kill Nazis thing. It's seen as like, okay, we get it. All right, we get it, man. And then of course you've got the Nazis who like the actual Nazis who also say that because they want to they are absolutely glad to see the idea of ridiculing Nazis in media and culture becoming like stale. They absolutely want that becoming stale, because then Nazism becomes less stale, right? And so we're seeing this era right now where, while Nazis are gaining strength in terms of social power and definitely electoral power again, at the same time making fun of Nazis is seen as stale and lazy, and something worth calling out as like trying to push a narrative. Remember, this game in particular, Wolfenstein the New Colossus, the marketing campaign was Make America Nazi-Free Again. Remember, this came out in like 2016, if I'm not mistaken, 2017 maybe? Right at the tail end of when you could get away with something like that.
Fair game to be demolished, ridiculed, and killed in media since the party took rise in the mid-20th century.
Put that phone down. Get me the right guitar. Put it down.
To show you just how normal and uncontroversial that stance is, here's a quick clip of Kermit the Frog killing a Nazi in 1990, something that no one batted an eyelash at.
I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in violence.
While many...
The universe was written by an author, I swear to God. You want to know what's funny about this? Kermit is Indiana Jones here. And funnily enough, the dev team, or the studio behind the Wolfenstein games, recently just released Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a game I need to stream, by the way, if my PC can handle it. Fuck. It looks really good in terms of like both gameplay-wise and graphics-wise, but I also am friends with someone who worked on it. So I find that very funny. The full circle. And yes, and the Indiana Jones game involves a lot of beating the shit out of and killing... Well, I don't know if you kill him. I think you do. But definitely fucking up a lot of Nazis. Indiana Jones famously has... Well, I don't think in the original movie Indiana Jones physically fought many Nazis, but he definitely would. I don't think he could do it, though, in that movie. He would have just gotten shot.
have certainly dissected their politics. Films like The Sound of Music...
Oh, but he did fight him in the Crystal Skull movie, to be fair. But I think we all wanted to forget that one.
And Indiana Jones aren't often discussed as having strong political dialogue despite taking firm anti-fascist, anti-Nazi stances. I think that's because those stances were largely uncontroversial when the films came out, so there's not much discussion that needs to happen for us to know that Indiana Jones isn't a bad guy for doing this.
There you go. Oh, he did. Oh.
Wolfenstein the New Order is of a similar ilk. It's deeply political, yes, because
movies.
It centers itself around the hatred of a hyper-conservative political ideology, but when it came out, there wasn't much controversy surrounding its themes. There's not much of a stance anyone would argue with being made. While there are more explicitly political moments that unpack fascism, like this scene where Jay talks about his experience with segregation in the United States...
That's not the America I fought for.
Really? I was little. My mother wanted to take me to the picture show, but we had to go in through the fucking colored entrance. I wanted a hot dog and a lemonade, but the sign says we don't serve Negroes in this establishment.
What's so frustrating is that nowadays, a scene like that should not in any way be frameable as offensive or, like, bad, would be framed as preachy, right? Like, what are they trying to do here, man? Are they trying to draw a comparison between modern America and when we were doing literal segregation? What's even the point of this? Like, you can hear it now, right? Like, can you not, like, hear the, like, programmed response the Chuds would have to a scene like this? People have become so... They bristle up at the suggestion of a progressive idea, not necessarily even because progressive ideas are bad in their mind, but this idea of progressive beliefs expressed in media being preachy. Like, we don't need there to be a message. We don't need there to be a message.
You're a patriot. Blue-eyed, jarhead, motherfucking Nazi-killing patriot that you are. You're still a fucking puppet to the man. You're exactly the kind of guy they ordered in come lynching time. You don't get it, do you? Before all this, before the Germans, before the war, back home, man, you were the Nazis.
Wolfenstein the New Order's politics are relatively straightforward, quick, and potentially easy to miss. The game's sequel, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, received a much different reaction, however. The New Colossus was rejected by many fans of the first game for having too progressive...
Remember, though, like I said, it was the tail end. These videos only had 10,000, 38,000, 124, and you can tell, like, how Wolfenstein 2 is SJW propaganda, and then Hitler in the thumbnail, absolute disgust. These videos did not get the views that videos like this today get. You know, right at the tail end of when you could get away with this without the grifters coming for you. Ooh, I think some ordinary gamers made a video making fun of the people mad about the politics, but maybe not. Maybe that video is cringe. Huh. I'm kind of morbidly curious about what he said there.
Of politics, despite sharing the exact same central political message. So, what changed? What if the Nazis won World War II is a common trope in revisionist historical fiction because it allows the story to have an enemy that's completely unsympathetic? To put it plainly, the Nazis were evil, and our heroes can kill as many of them as they want without having to grapple much with the morality of taking human lives. In fact, Wolfenstein addresses this topic in a scene set in a concentration camp where a prisoner asks you to kill a particularly brutal Nazi officer. She says,
"I'm not asking you to do anything, but the right thing."
When you return to her after killing him, she says,
"You did the right thing, didn't you? Sometimes it's hard to know what is right. But what you did was a good thing. This I know."
Wolfenstein puts it plainly. There is no morality to killing Nazis. It is the right thing to do. Violence against fascism is necessary and moral, because fascism is inherently violent and immoral. The unquestionable support for that sentiment, however, has started to waver in recent years. What if the Nazis won World War II, Wolfenstein asks. But are we sure they lost? Nazism has seen an unprecedented public rise over the last 10 years or so, and all it takes is a single look at the current United States administration to see that Nazi policies are popular enough to make it into the White House. And they're not secret fascists or anything like that. They're fully leaning into.
And the thing about it as well is we're expected to see that clip and be like, no, he was saying his heart goes out to you. It wasn't a Nazi salute, you fucking libtard. It's like... Ugh. God, excuse me. The erosion of the truth has been so blatant. I don't know. I don't know what you do about this anymore, you know? Like, shit's fucked, bro.
Sickening, despicable glee.
Nazi scum.
Wolfenstein hates Nazis. It hates them so much and refuses to shy away from that fact by displaying who the Nazis were with unrelenting evidence of their cruelty and lack of humanity and lies. The propaganda letters you find scattered around the levels don't just tell us that the fascists are unquestionably good, but they also tell us that detractors are unquestionably bad, that they're rapists and murderers not to be missed if they disappear. In Wolfenstein's alternate history, Germany dropped a nuclear bomb on New York City, ending World War II, but the propagandistic news articles tell us something interesting. The in-game report cites a fictional quote from the German leadership reading, "This final act of violence may have saved millions of lives that would have resulted from a land invasion of America." This very same explanation was used in real life by the American government to justify dropping nuclear weapons on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 1945, killing more than 150,000 defenseless civilians. After all, President Truman said of a Japanese ground invasion, "My object is to save as many American lives as possible, but I also have a human feeling for the women and children of Japan," only to later write in response to a clergyman begging him to not drop another bomb, "The only language they seem to understand is the one we have been using to bombard them. When you have to deal with a beast, you have to treat him as a beast." This...
Yeah, no, like the second bomb was not necessary. I'm gonna be real, like you can say that we had to drop, like, a nuke, but two? Come on. No, even if it needed to be one, it didn't need to be two. It never needed to be two.
Fictional newspaper clipping is a small detail in Wolfenstein that very
They dropped the second one before the public could have, like, an outcry for stopping the war, which was the point, supposedly, of... Yeah, anyway.
Clearly holds up a mirror to the United States' most violent and despicable action, and to the way that the government discusses the slaughter of innocent civilians as a necessary evil. Wolfenstein...
Dude, no, they deliberately, it was, like, insane. Like, the planning for how they could drop both bombs in a very close time period was, like, 90% of the work of the mission. I'm not even joking. Like, so much effort was put in to making sure it would be one nuke, and then the next, as quickly in succession as possible. So much work and planning went into that. They deliberately did not give them a chance for the public outcry among Japan to be like, okay, call it quits, war's over, we don't want this anymore. They were just like, nope, make sure it's two. Let's just really make sure. Yeah, and as Truman said, like, treat them like beasts, of course.
Doesn't have to twist the facts or create an alternate history here to highlight the cruelty of indiscriminate violence. It just rearranges the names. Despite being about freeing the United States from Nazi rule, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus doesn't say very much of anything specific about the current era of US politics. That didn't stop the game's publisher, Bethesda Softworks, from leaning into the 2017 political climate as much as possible when marketing the game's release. Make America Nazi-free again, a tweet from the official Wolfenstein Twitter account reads, "Not my America." Of course, this tweet is meant for viewers to make a connection between Donald Trump's first administration's policies and the overtly fascist regime in Wolfenstein 2, but in context of the game, there isn't much specifically aimed at Trump. That doesn't matter, however, because Trump has, time and time again, aligned himself with the villains in Wolfenstein. At face value, hating Nazis has, up until recently, been seen as non-controversial, almost apolitical if such a thing can even exist. But now, a non-controversial statement about ridding the United States of Nazis becomes highly charged with political implication thanks to the actions of the president. And it's only gotten more.
I don't agree with everything he said, and don't get me stun-locked in explaining why they're... Anyway, I really like the alt-right playbook series by... Why am I forgetting his name right now? Does anyone know his name? I'm blanking. Innuendo Studios. I really like the alt-right playbook series. It's really good. Big shout out to that, because that's where I'm pulling what I'm about to say from. But Innuendo Studios, in one of his alt-right playbook videos, makes the argument that the way this state of affairs comes about is when a space has a set political standard for what is considered the normal, like the normal take to have, right? And in most political spaces, even today, the normal political take to have is Nazis are bad, and SJWs and feminism are cringe. Maybe not bad, but cringe. Or like woke people and feminism are cringe. That's kind of like where people are at right now. And when you enter a space and you say feminism is bad, that's not seen as a controversial take. Because even if you're in the minority with that take, you're just seen as like a random no one. But if someone comes in and says Nazis are good, people say that it's the same thing. I forget how the exact explanation goes, but the idea is that an idea can be perceived as so unconsequential and so unpopular that expressing your opinion that that idea is bad, in this case Nazism, is seen as a harsher political statement than if the Nazi themselves had come out and said that they're a Nazi. Because people will just write off the Nazi as someone, as just some crazy who is a minority of the population not worth talking about. But someone making a big deal about Nazis is seen as a bigger problem. If everyone agrees Nazis are bad, then saying they're good must be a joke, and saying they're bad must be bringing unneeded attention to a situation that everyone already agrees on. Exactly.
More and more pointed as his
And then, of course, on top of that, with this particular situation, Trump supporters will not take kindly to such an implication, of course.
administration takes the reins once more. The politics of Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus are incredibly simple. The game makes it explicitly clear what we must do with Nazis, that there is no role fascism can play in our future other than to be stomped under our boots. The problem that the game begins to unpack, however, is that fascism isn't so easily dismantled. As we've seen in real life, it does not end with the death of a leader because the ideas are already alive. Fascism doesn't just poison full-blown Nazis. As we see, the ideology trickles down to weak-willed, insecure men. The New Colossus shines some light on the backstory of Wolfenstein's protagonist, BJ Blazkowicz, by showing bits and pieces of his childhood. The scenes are an effective way of showing the poison that is Nazism by telling us exactly what kind of man Blazkowicz's father was. He was a failed businessman who blamed anyone but himself for his failure. The Jewish population, the black population. This hatred didn't grow in the thick of Nazi Germany. Instead, was fostered in rural America. Nazis aren't made when a single leadership or administration takes office. It happens when the people accept their terms and agree. Rip Blazkowicz was a Nazi before the party even existed.
Monsters did this.
Not monsters.
Men.
Where Wolfenstein The New Order presented fascism as a simpler evil and only lightly touched on its American roots, the new Colossus shines a spotlight on its complexities. Blazkowicz's father was not an isolated case. We discover that the American South has been handed to the Ku Klux Klan by the Nazis, and many of its citizens are perfectly happy there. Slavery is legal again and is discussed openly and casually. For many white Americans, fascism is a system that empowers them if they don't mind ignoring its blatant evils. When asked by PC Gamer about the development of the section where we see what daily life is like in the South now, Jens Mathies, the creative director at Machine Games, said, "There was always a segment of the population who were winners in an oppressive regime, and they were willing to look past what the ramifications were to the other parts of the population." This scene shines an uncomfortable light on much of the American public. Grace, a black revolutionary, explains to Blazkowicz that most white Americans don't want to be saved from Nazi rule because they benefit from the systems that it enforces.
We've been fighting every motherfucking day, Blazkowicz. White America, though? They done packed up and given in. See, I guess they don't have the fighting spirit no more. Nah, they just do whatever the fucking Fuhrer tells.
And that's the scary situation it feels like we're in now. Where white, centrist, apolitical America is just complicit. They hear that Trump is just deporting the criminals, and that's the beginning, middle, and end of the story for them. You know, obviously I'm not going to play any more of the video because I want you guys to go watch the original video and send support. Mind you, massive shout out to Peter Spitek for Peter Spitek for this fantastic video essay. What a hidden gem, honestly. What a hidden gem of a channel. I want to show you guys a clip. This seems like an appropriate clip to finish things off with. Let me see if I can find it. If I'm lucky, it will not be hard to find. Oh, well, this isn't even the clip I was looking for. Here is a clip of Asmon dropping the mask.
Look right here, and I'll show you. Like, people think I'm fucking crazy. I'm not. Look at this. People wonder, are tax dollars used to promote wokeness in video games? Answer is yes. USAID paid Politico millions of dollars a year to write pieces like this one, which promotes diversity and describes Gamergate as disinformation and harassment campaign. So this is the thing, guys. I want these people to suffer because that's what they did to me. I want to set an example. Get rid of these people. Put them like completely out of their jobs. Get rid of them. Make an example of them. Say, listen, this is what happens. Gamers rise up. What goes around? Yep, what goes around comes around. And
yo, Peter Spitek, thank you for coming to chat. Holy crap, I didn't see you before. Thanks for sharing my video. I'm only able to stick around for a minute since I'm on vacation, but oh, hell yeah. I hope you have a fun on vacation. I hope it's somewhere nice. Thanks for giving me a shout out. Thanks so much again. Really cool of you to be so nice about my video. Absolutely. I'm not going to play your whole video because I want to leave people on a cliffhanger because they're going to like it and they're going to want to watch the rest. They're going to click the link and then they're going to watch it and give you the view and everything. It's my my secret way of getting people to check out new creators. I leave them on a cliffhanger. Very good video, by the way. What a hidden gem of a channel you have. You are absolutely going places. Keep it up. I guarantee you, you're going to be pulling white light numbers. Go check out Peter Spitek, everyone. This clip of Asmongold is so important. I didn't even know about this. I just saw this for the first time with you. Man, just letting the mask slip here. Now, the hilarious thing about all of this, by the way, the fundamental premise that he's based this rant on is a complete lie. It's a Grums-originated, conspiracy. Once again, Grums is the same guy who once again is scamming like a shitload of his followers because he's like raised, what is it, like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something for GoFundMe for his non-existent game for like years and years now. He's been called out as a scammer for this for a while, but regardless, what was I about to say? This guy originated one of the funniest, most obviously made up, yet broadly believed conspiracy theories I've ever seen in gaming. And if you know anything about the Assassin's Creed franchise, if you know anything about Japan, if you know anything about the gaming industry, or anything to do with this situation, it is just blatantly obvious how insane of a conspiracy this is. Grumps claimed that, and he didn't originate it, but he popularized this claim, that originally Assassin's Creed Shadows would not have Yasuke as its main samurai male protagonist, counterpart to the female shinobi. Instead, it would be a Japanese man who would be a samurai, but that during the development cycle, Ubisoft saw, and I quote, the success of the success and profit, quote unquote, of the BLM riots, and it decided to redesign the main character to be Yasuke. And then, I kid you not, the claim from this supposed leak that Grumps popularized, that originates from 4chan. The leak is on 4chan, of course. And the evidence for this claim is, trust me, bro. This is the best part. They claimed that they modeled Yasuke after George Floyd. Mind you, there is a statue of Yasuke that they literally directly basically carved him to look like. His character model looks just like the statue. But it is really fucking funny that people are actually buying that. And the same guy is now claiming that USAID paid Politico to have Gamergate smeared. Because, of course, now, after years of lefties need to just get over Gamergate, it was 10 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, Gamergate was based, and the Gamergaters are back. Gamergate is back. Gamergate is vindicated, whatever. But before, it was you need to just let Gamergate go. It was years ago. Okay, cool. Just making sure I keep that in mind. Absolutely, Peter Spit Tech. Thank you. But the funniest part is USAID did not pay Politico. Politico is paying USAID. Like, all of these big media corporations pay USAID for on-the-ground immediate info about any situation they've got intel on, because USAID is based all around the planet. They've got, like, workers and like, people all around the planet. They have all the intel. Like, when some crazy terrorist attack happens, when some civil war breaks out, when something like that happens, USAID has the info. They have people on the ground that know shit. And so all of these big, from CNN to Fox News, by the way, and the Daily Wire, actually, all have this special, like, really just advertised to news agencies, like news outlets, subscription that USAID offers. So it isn't even USAID paying anyone. It's USAID getting paid. But of course, they are willing to literally flip the situation in their narrative if that's what's necessary. But this isn't even the Asmongold clip I wanted to show you. In reference to the whole white America standing back and standing by thing, let me see if I can find it. Is it just not going to come up? It's not going to come up, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not going to come up. Well, hey, on the bright side, we have this. I honestly think that this is the image of Asmongold that needs to... We're going to use this image in the thumbnail, okay? I wish we knew who made this. I need people who make these images to start watermarking their memes. Like find a place in the arm or something, like somewhere around here, to watermark the meme. Please. Give yourself credit. Alright, hold on. I'm sending this to my editor. I'm sending this image to my editor. I sent it to Ethan and said saving this for later. Anyway, what a fantastic video. Once again, please go check out Peter Spit Tech. Fantastic little diamond in the rough content we just found right there. And as a big fan of Wolfenstein, as I imagine many of you guys are, because let's be real, I mean, fuck Nazis and all that. I hope you guys appreciated that awesome segment. And I hope you guys go check out his channel. And I hope you guys also, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think they could have released the Wolfenstein games today, or do you think they would have literally bombed? Do you think they would have done well but still had a lot of hate? I'm really curious to hear about it. Comment down below what you think. It really does help the channel as well if you comment, so I really do appreciate it. Same goes to everybody who hits that like button if they enjoyed, and hits the subscribe button and rings the icon as well to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos, because trust me, if you don't, they won't. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can actually follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, including my, of course, my fan Discord, the main hub of my community. I really hope to see you guys around there. It's pretty nice to see you guys following me. But finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on, the roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or perhaps even buy some Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Don't forget to go check out Peter's Spit Tech as well. But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon.